Hey, I'm Al Corlin. Appreciate you joining me. All of you listeners of the Corlin Economics Report, we're hearing from more and more of you, and we do appreciate that. We are in Vancouver, British Columbia right now at the Cambridge House International Investment Conference. The nice thing about coming to these conferences is it gives us the opportunity to meet with old friends and to shoot some video so you can actually put faces to names in terms of the letter writers who are on our show, the authors who are on our show, and the executives of publicly traded companies that are on the show. Going to do one a little differently right now. I got my buddy Roger Wiegand with me. Roger is a regular contributor to the radio show, daily basis. He's also on the weekend show. Roger, as you guys know, has a newsletter called Trader Tracks. Very, very good newsletter, growing by leaps and bounds in terms of readership, and we're happy that that's happening for Roger. Kevin Hudak has also joined me. Kevin is a stockbroker, works in New Mexico, has developed a real niche in terms of specializing in resource companies, and they're going to be grilling, for lack of better terms, a couple of friends of mine, Ronnie Coombes. Ron is the president of a company called White Tiger Mining. I have to say, in the interest of full disclosure, I am a shareholder of White Tiger, purchased stock probably about 6 months or so ago in the company, and I'm happy about that. They have a very, very significant property located in Ontario, very large, potentially large copper project. We're going to play a little game here. We're going to pretend that Roger knows quite a bit about the company, but Kevin does not. So we're going to see if Ron and his associate can convince Kevin that maybe this is a company he might want to take a look at. So let's start out with you, Ron. Give us a little bit of a overview of White Tiger, and then I'm going to hand the mic over to Kevin Hudak.
Thanks, Al. Much appreciated. Well, as you know, Kevin, our company has got 22 million shares issued and outstanding. I'll give you a few of the highlights first. Trades on the Toronto Stock Exchange Venture Exchange under WTC, and we feel it's a great opportunity for new investors right now. It's traded over the last 30 days from 30 cents to a high of 98, and right now currently trading in the 30-cent range. And for really no reason other than the fact that we've been successful. It's a bit of a conundrum. I don't quite understand it, but anyways, so with that, I want to introduce you to Gord Gibson here. Gord's our geologist. This play is in Ontario. It's right off of a major railway. We've drilled about 21 holes into one zone. It's got numerous zones on the property. So we're pretty excited about it. So with that, I'm looking forward to answering any questions you may have.
Well, thank you for the opportunity. My first question would be cash position and cash flow. I assume you're not in production yet, so how is your cash availability, cash burn rate per month or per year? And let's start with that.
Sure. Well, running a public company now, our burn rate's estimated at about $300,000 per annum. Currently, we have about $1.2 million in the bank, and we're just completing a $1.5 million raise for this next phase of drilling. So this next phase of monies that we're raising should be able to complete the drilling of this zone, which we anticipate then moving forward with 43-101 at the end of September.
When are you anticipating production or actual cash flow coming from the property?
That really depends on the results that we get, Kevin. Right now, I would say that this next program, we're hopeful will give us enough tonnage to be able to give you those answers. Right now, we're still in the infancy stages. We've only got 21 holes into the zone so far, but it's interesting to note we've got about 20 different zones on the property. It looks like a dead ringer or a lookalike to Noranda, which is further to the east. Gord, I guess with that, I'll leave you with that to answer that question.
Yeah, this is a VMS Style deposit. It's in the same province of the same subbelt of the Canadian Shield as Noranda. We're dealing with mineralization here that has kind of surprised us. You know, it isn't traditional VMS styles of intercepts that we're hitting, although that component is in there as well. It's also fairly thick, 0.5% copper, tends to be pure chalcopyrite within the matrix of a fragmental volcanic unit. So this is sort of atypical VMS. It's flanking style of mineralization. It looks as though we haven't yet found the heart of this deposit, but we're certainly moving toward a thick geophysical response on surface that is going to help us, I think, identify the main fold closure that controls the heart of this. We've also done some 3D grade shell block modeling recently on all of our intercepts, and we're beginning to understand from that the very steep plunging nature of the several zones that we're identifying with the drilling.
How big is the property? And you got 20 zones. How many drills are you running, and how many meters of drill are you looking at for this summer or fall program?
This next program, we're anticipating a minimum 5,000 meters of drilling, and we'll be focusing on this one zone, which we refer to as the RM zone. And the interesting thing about it, there's no overburden on this property to speak of, so this is right from surface. We're intersecting mineralization thicknesses of approximately 150 meters of true thickness. So we're pretty excited when you get the kind of grades that we're getting. Historically, in Canada, for instance, 0.30 would be a typical type porphyry copper deposit. We're seeing grades that are pretty close to double traditional type porphyry grades.
Are you looking at this turning into open pit, or are you going to be underground mining, or what do you think this is leaning to?
That's a great question, because the answer to that question is open pit. This thing's vertically in place from surface, and that's really why we're so excited about this. When you get this kind of widths and it's open pitable, we're still seeing some higher grade numbers, like 3 to 5 meters of 3 to 4% copper, but what we're really excited about is the open pit dynamics of this particular property right now.
And how are you along the way with environmental permits and those kind of concerns with the Ontario government?
Well, this is, once again, it's a pure chalcopyrite with silver and some gold credits in it. So we're not anticipating any EA difficulties here, because it's not like atypical of some of the other deposits where you've got arsenic or antimony present. The communities that we're dealing with are very much in favor of the project. Its location actually is such a huge benefit, because we're not in the muskeg, which is most of Ontario sitting in muskeg. So, there's a lot of difficulty with getting to the property or working it all year round. We can actually work this property 12 months out of the year, which is, not typical of Ontario.
Roger here. Could you give us, the Americans that are listening to this, the size in like square miles of your property? It's expressed in hectares and whatever, but it would be helpful if you could do that.
Yeah, this property is approximately 10 miles by 6 miles.
Okay, 10 by 6.
So it's a fairly significant piece of property.
It's going to be primarily a copper property, is that correct?
That's correct, with silver credits and gold credits. There are zones on the property where we see zinc that our silver values bounce up to 1-2 ounces of silver per ton, which is very significant.
Another question of interest to the listeners would be, who is around you that's operating a mine or has other properties of significance, and what kind of ores are they looking at? What's happening around you?
Well, we've got a couple of other deposits that are nearby, but in this particular area that we're working in is literally an entire camp. So we've got sewn up right now just about every showing historically since about 1960 to date within this property boundaries that we own. So we've got a significant piece of ground here.
Do you have any early estimates at all? I know you probably don't. Do you have a 43101 yet?
We don't have a compliant 43101 on grade shells right now. There are, Billiton, for instance, had a historical deposit on the property, and I have to caution the public that it cannot be relied upon, of course. But they had recorded 1.2 million tons of just about 1% copper with some 1 ounce silver in one zone. The Tech Gazuma zone had some grade there as well historically. So we've got a number of different showings on the property that have historical grade. It's just that, with 43101, I have to caution everybody one more time. They can't be relied upon.
Okay. So what's the closest operator with an operating mine to where you are right now?
I'll let my geologist, Gordon, answer that question.
Well, probably the most significant mine in the area is just over the provincial border in Quebec, and that would be the Horn mine of Noranda and others. So again, that's some distance away, but we're following basically a camp, a number of deposits that have been looked at individually over a period of years, and actually the one that we're most focused on right now that is giving us the best results was one that was only marginal. It's actually peripheral to one of the better ones that have been worked on trenching-wise, drilling-wise in the past. So this is a fairly new discovery within a camp that's been looked at for 20 or 30 years.
Okay. Here we are in June at the Vancouver show. What would you expect you might accomplish for the next 6 months over the rest of this year?
Well, there's a round of drilling being planned right now, and we'll certainly be advancing our understanding of this deposit in the area of the best surface geophysics and the best area that the modeling tends to predict where it's going. So we have a significant round of drilling in front of us, and we'll see where that takes us. But we're developing an understanding as we go.
Question on staffing on your management team. Ron, do you have everybody aboard that you need right now, or do you have plans for expansion of staff this year?
Well, that's a really good question, because our drill right now is sitting on standby, ready to start spinning. We've got all of our staff is ready to once again go back into the field. The modeling's just been completed. We've had further geophysics completed. Yeah, we're ready to roll here. This project's ready to go.
Okay, good. Kevin, do you have any other questions?
No, they've pretty much covered everything that I would look at. My biggest concern is cash flow and cash burn rates, and it sounds like they have that covered. It's just now it's the tail of the drill. The drill's going to tell us exactly what's going on and how fast it's going on. So they've pretty much covered it.
Al Corlin, that's me. You know, I have to say one thing, you guys. I think it's interesting how this interview came down, and I'm feeling like that I'm chopped liver or whatever. But I want you to remember one thing: Big Al and Little Kathy wrote a check for these guys, to buy stock. That's how serious we are. Again, in the interest of full disclosure, I am highly biased. I like the company, and I do own shares. See what you think. If you want more information on White Tiger, either contact Roger Wiegand, Trader Raj, or click on their banner on our website. Gentlemen, all four of you, thank you so much.
Thank you, Al.